Good morning, everybody. It's Hilarious D, and welcome into the season finale of Funny Talk. We got a good one for y'all this morning. I believe she's a good person. She's a kind spirit. She's out helping the community in every way that she can. Miss Goddess Thrailkill.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. It's definitely been a long time coming. Definitely been watching in a distance, and definitely checking out what you got going on. Definitely an inspiration to myself and being a motivational speaker and giving back to the community. So, I'd like to start from the beginning and work our way up. If you don't mind, tell the audience how old are you and where you from?
Well, I am 41 years old, and I consider myself to be from Houston, Texas. I've been living in a lot of places, but that's where I call home, so that's where I claim.
All right. And next question is to basically talk about your vision loss. How did you become blind and how did you deal with it?
Sure. Well, I was not born with an eye condition. I actually was sighted, didn't have any eye issues. I was a nurse for 10 years, and I actually was involved in a tragic accident leaving work one day, which resulted in me losing my sister, my niece, and my sight. As a result of, I was in a coma for approximately 9 months altogether, and when I came to, I no longer could see. And that was very devastating, because going from, 1 minute, you can see, and then the next minute, it's just taken away. And then I didn't even know the impact of everything that had happened. And I lost so much within that time, So for me, in the beginning, it was definitely a point in my life where I had just lost the will for everything. I didn't want to live. I didn't want to keep going. I just wanted to give up, and with my vision, when I lost it, getting rehabilitation to learn how to walk, talk, and all of that again. But when it came to my sight, where I was at in Texas at the time, I wasn't really given any type of, basically just a card for, counseling that I couldn't read, So that was initially how I lost my sight.
Okay. So now we're going through the motions of vision loss and things like that. And you mentioned basically going through a moment of how do I go on? Basically, how did you find the strength? What process did you go to come back and realize, hey, I gotta get up now. I gotta move forward. I gotta live life essentially.
What my sole motivation was, honestly, was at the time, my son. At the time I had just my son. He was initially 6 years old when the accident happened, but going through all of the rehabilitation, he had been, it was 2 years later, he was 8. For me growing up, unfortunately, I didn't have my mother. My mother was incarcerated when I was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. So not having my mother, not having my father a part of my life, and, growing up in the system, I always valued the fact that when it was my turn to be a mom, I was always going to be there, be present. And that was my motivation to fight, to keep going. And I had always had obstacles in my life, mm-hmm. and always, been up against unmentionable odds. So I had to fight for him. He was there. He didn't understand why his mommy couldn't see to walk to him anymore. He didn't know, but my baby at a young age, at 8, he was like, "Mom, I'm gonna be here. I'll help you." And from there, that was my partner, and we worked it together with faith and determination. I gained my strength back. I gained my will back, and I embraced this life. And now on today, it's the best thing that could ever happen to me.
Understood. So for the other blind moms out there maybe going through this recently of losing sight and raising children, or being, going through vision loss and raising children, did you how can I put this in words? I guess I wouldn't say doubt yourself, but how did you find the courage and strength to basically be a parent. Although that you can't see, there's still things that come with parenting as far as like making sure a child gets dressed, getting them to school, things like that.
I became very creative,
Mm-hmm.
very creative, and it helps for me because within that time I actually got pregnant with my second child, which was my daughter. So for that, I was fully sighted when I had my son, but totally blind when I had my daughter, and told I would never see her. So it was that transition, and I was able to utilize different skills from being in the medical field, just different skills from growing up and not having much and being resourceful. Through trials, trying things, preparing myself. It's just I didn't have time to doubt. I didn't have time to really second guess. I just had to do, so when it came to, I knew I had 9 months, and in 9 months I was going to have this baby, and I was going to need to know how to do things, how to make a bottle, how to prepare, the cereal, how to change her, how to breastfeed her. I knew I had to do these things. And so I began that training. Thank God I knew how to cook from scratch because, it wasn't easy. And with a lot of things, but cooking was easy. I didn't have to see ingredients. I could go off of smell, washing. Me and my son, he was balancing checkbooks. I was balancing checkbooks. You just develop the skills together. We had a team. And for me, I had to. I just had to keep trial and error until I figured it out. That's a part of being a mother, a parent.
I definitely like that. I definitely like to hear that when, a whole household comes together and, like you said, it's a team. Like regardless of age, man, like people don't understand. Like, it's truly, honestly, a gift, or that someone is watching out for you when you can come together as a cohesive household and get things done.
Absolutely.
You gotta have that support from children, parents, whatever. It just has to come together at some point. So definitely shout out to you and your family for being a strong household, and probably even to this day a strong household. So I definitely to hear that.
Definitely.
So now move on to the what you do today, which is actually a social worker, and we all need some type of, like I said, support and or counseling in today's life. So what made you want to become a social worker, and who do you service?
Well, I always had the will to help people. I always knew I wanted to help, which is why I went into the medical field from the beginning, and was a nurse. And then I often like to utilize the things that I've been through to make an impact. So social work was for me the next best thing, and I actually, ironically, I started in the field I started off volunteering, to be honest, at the Salvation Army here in Orlando, Florida. I was just a volunteer coming in every day. The type of person I am, I was the women and children shelter that I volunteered at because I like to go back to places that resonate with me. Where I came from, I remember being in that situation, and so to come and to be that light and to be a happy voice and put a smile on their face. And then from there, I was offered the opportunity to work at the front desk, and I started answering the phones, and from there it was processing applications for rental assistance. And then it was like, let me go back to school, let me work towards this, and because I wanted to help do the counseling, get them the life skills that they needed, get them the ability to be able to get back on their feet, motivate them to get a job, and eventually watch them get into a place, no longer having to be in the shelter with their children, no longer having to do things that they didn't want to do just to survive. And it became another way for me to help and to give back, and it was very rewarding and humbling and healing for me, and I love it.
Yeah, definitely like to hear that as well. So, and being a social worker, I know you say you like to help people and things like that. I'm pretty sure they have smiles and they're upbeat when you help them. But do you find any, I guess, happiness, or do you take anything positive away from the people that you help in these situations?
Definitely I do. I take not only happiness, positivity, as well as pride away from being able to give someone back hope that they did not have. You know, I know for myself firsthand how that feels. I know what it feels like not to have people believe in you. I know what it feels like just to not feel like you have any purpose, you know. And from a young person, we get them from 18 years old all the way on up. So to be able to know where they start and see the journey and watch them succeed, it's no greater feeling than that. Some of them, you don't always have happy endings, but I can honestly say my success stories outweigh anything else. And that's what makes me the most proud, you know, for someone to say that, thank you for believing in me, or thank you for pushing me, you know. There's no greater feeling than that, you know what I'm saying? Giving somebody their purpose, that is an honor that I definitely don't take lightly.
Agreed. Excuse me. And I'm noticing a little bit of a pattern here, and I noticed it actually in my own personal research. You know, you went through your things in your own personal life. You became a social worker, and you're now, you know, you're doing motivational speaking. So did becoming a social worker lead up to becoming a motivational speaker?
Yes, it did. I can honestly say social work, the whole journey, my life in itself, you know, I learned my healing is what I tell people is I get healing from sharing my story. And the only way that I can do it is to be able to stand on a platform from situations that I've been through. So I can speak proudly to the blind community because I can relate. I can actually say, you know, I know what it's like to be fully sighted. I know what it's like to be totally blind. And I know what it's like to be visually impaired. You know, I can speak to in the foster system. I can speak to people who are growing up without their parents being incarcerated, domestic violence survivors. I use my life and the situations I went through to be able to give hope and inspiration and motivate, because it's easy for people to receive that from somebody that they know has walked a mile in their shoes.
Definitely can attest to that. Like I tell people, no matter what age you go through trauma, like it's a great feeling knowing that your story can uplift someone else, especially on the women's side of things. I'm definitely a big women's rights supporter, and when we definitely need more people, definitely more strong people in the world like you to, you know, stand up and want to be able to bring people together no matter what race, shape, or color. So, and I didn't know this one, the NCAACP of Orlando, can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. That's one of my greatest, newest accomplishments, and I'm definitely proud of that. I am the first legally blind youth council chairperson for the youth that are 25 and under here for the NAACP in Orange County. So I have the ability to go, to connect, to speak, to help them develop the leadership skills that are needed to advocate, to be able to present themselves, to stand up for themselves and fight for the rights that they need, and to be a part of developing leaders, you know, and that's a great honor, you know, it really is. And I recently got elected. I just got this position within the last 2 months. And I got the honor of being able to be selected to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey on July the 14th through the 20th to be an actual delegate, a national delegate, be able to vote on different types of, you know, situations and issues that affect within the NAACP, and be a part of making history there, and meet so many people that have been in this organization for a long time, and just be able to develop those connections and grow within an organization that means a lot to me. So it's a real honor, you know, definitely on a lot of spectrums. And I like to be able to show, you know, that anything is possible. You know, it's something that I wanted to do. I love to do. I love youth. I love kids, and I love developing leaders. So it's definitely an honor for me.
Good. So, Fight is getting her/him through the Facebook group, I believe. So how did that come about, and what's the goal for that?
So a Fight, which I'm a person you'll learn that loves acronyms. So I developed this is my LLC, which is Fight LLC, and it does stand for Faith is Getting Him Through, or Faith is Getting Her Through. And basically this was birthed through my life, over having to endure so many situations where I had nothing but faith. That's all I had to depend on, to believe in, and that's what God guided me, you know what I'm saying? And I'm very, very strong on that. I was told I would never ever see again. 11 years later, 47 eye operations, 5 cornea transplants, and they were able to restore my vision in my right eye. To where I do see 20/20 with the use of a special contact lens, which allowed me to see my 11-year-old daughter for the first time in 11 years. That's faith. It was faith that allowed me to continue to fight. 11 years ago when I wanted to give up, through every situation in my life, I was taught at a very young age through a wonderful lady who I stayed with for about 3 months of my life, who showed me what a mustard seed was, which was very small, and that's all it took to believe. And that's all I ever held on to. So that's what I patterned my LLC after. And basically, I do motivational speaking on all different platforms. I have motivational merchandise, from shirts to bags to all types of things. And I do comprehensive training in regards to living independently. I am a licensed certified visual rehabilitation instructor. I did teach at the Lighthouse of Central Florida School for the Blind for 3 years. So I do those classes. I give parenting classes to expecting mothers and mothers who have newborns up to 5 years old, utilizing the skills that I learned preparing me for motherhood. And also I assist the hospitals now with the curriculum so that their nurses are educated on how to successfully, do things like show a mother who's blind or visually impaired how to breastfeed correctly, how to latch on different things that are needed, because there are different techniques that you do versus with someone who's sighted. I do lots of outreach. That's the birth of Fight, is just to go out, collaborate, do outreach, and inspire. So that's my LLC, and that's where it came from. And I just had the group now on Facebook because from doing so much and traveling, people want to connect, people want to share their stories. So I just recently did the group. It's only been up for a couple of weeks, but people can definitely, add and stay a part and be a part of the movement and share their stories. And, because you never know who you're meant to touch through your own experiences.
Agreed. So many, you're looking through so many lenses and providing so many services on a broad platform, and that's another thing I like to see that's positive. Is like being able to be in one area, dealing with blindness, maybe being deaf or going through another situation, but still be able to share what you're going through and do so many different things to show that, hey, just because they say I'm this way doesn't mean I can't do what I want to do.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the Miss Independent pageant.
Yes. So
go ahead and plug that.
I am honored. Oh my gosh. So recently I have a very great friend she is very close to me. Her name is Crystal Allen, and she's actually the founder and CEO of the nonprofit organization Eyes Like Mine Incorporated. So this is her 6th year, and she has a pageant that is called the Miss Blind Diva Empowerment Pageant. And the beautiful thing about this pageant is it doesn't just highlight beauty. It highlights your accomplishments in the blind community and shows and highlights how you've empowered and made your mark in the community. So I am running this year. I was back and forth. At first, I was going to plan and be a part of the committee and recruit, but I was always told, like, Goddess, you should go, you should do it. And I was like, it's empowerment. I love what it stands for. I love what it represents. So I decided to, go for it. And so I'm in the running right now. I have a YouTube video that is out, and it highlights the different things that I do within the community and just a little bit about me in general. And I get my wins based on the amount of likes that I get on the video. So I definitely would love for everybody to like my video, because I would definitely love to bring this title home. It's something that really, really symbolizes everything that I am, everything that I strive to be. So that's what it is. And this year they're actually going to be featured on a documentary that will be on Live Beam TV, because it's one of the first and only pageants of this kind. You receive a cash prize for it, as well as just what it stands for, and you're able to be that ambassador to travel and to show that. So I'm very, proud just to even be in the running. So that's what I'm going for. That's my new endeavor.
There you have it. A link for the pageant will definitely be in the description, as well as any other links for you guys to reach out to Goddess. Goddess, I appreciate you for sharing your story and giving me this time to actually speak to you fully. Learned a lot on top of what I've already known. You are an amazing person. You're doing some amazing things in this world. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Well, thank you. That really means a lot coming from you. Yes, I've been needing to connect with you for a long time. I look forward to collaborating and doing some endeavors with you. I just want to say thank you for having me, continue to do what you're doing and making your mark, and definitely, blessings to you, and thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate it, man. Like I say, let's work. I'm always ready to work. So thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. This was Goddess. Thanks for watching. See y'all on the other side.